Hey everyone, Thomas here. This is going to be a short video, but I just wanted to outline a script that I was writing, and I thought it would be interesting to share. So, this side project involves a few different moving parts. So, it involves web scraping, as well as alerting, and then I also got my hands a little dirty with Microsoft scheduled tasks. So, let's jump into it. So as you can see here, I have a very basic main function, which is going to essentially grab a URL. It's going to get what month and what day are available up until for reservations, and what date will next be reached in order to unlock more days for reservation. So if I switch over, you can see that this is the website that I'm actually going to be reserving on. So I'm going to be taking my girlfriend out for a weekend to Montauk, and I wanted to take her to a nice winery to celebrate 3 years together. So as you can see, there's an element on the screen that actually tells you what days are available up until and when the next set days will release for reservations. So I wanted to parse this information, and I wanted to extract two different dates. I wanted to extract this date, which tells me what days are available up until, and I also wanted to extract this date, which would tell me when the next set of reservations will become available. So back over here, we get all of that data, and I can show you that right now, by creating a Chrome driver, as well as some options for it. We get the elements on the page, and by doing that, we wait until they're available. Very conveniently, there's a class that wraps the text under that reservation portal, so it's very easy. I just called the offering status message and then got all of the text that was there and split it by periods, so that way I had two different elements. One was the up until date, and then the second would be the actual next release date. So after relaying that text information, we would then parse the data. So to do that, I would split month and day apart from that first sentence, which I'll go back to. So theoretically, we've now grabbed this as the first element. I've then split it by commas. So now this is one element, and this is the second element, and this is the third. And what I'm most worrisome about is this, because this is what's giving me the pertinent information for booking. So I then grab that information and I split it by the space in between, and what's left over is the month and the day. After that, we have the next release date. So first I'm grabbing that text section, and I want to split on, grab the second element, and then strip the spaces on either side. So in this case, we've now grabbed the second element, which is this. We want to split by on with spaces on either side, which would split by this element. And then by grabbing the second element in its entirety, we've now grabbed the entire date and time that the next availability will go live. So with all of that information, we have everything set and ready for our alert system. We have the up until month, the up until day, and the next release date. For sake of convenience, I created a wrapper function that essentially just performed all of those tasks sequentially. So first we just get the driver, and then we call the get elements for driver to actually pull up the page, and then we parse the data, and what's left is the information. I then kill the driver and return all of the information that we need. So once that's done, we then need to check to see if the condition has been met. In this case, I'm going to be going in around the second week of August, so I want to check for availability after that second week. The definition in this case is if the month is August and if the day itself is greater than 7. If that is the case, then we want to say yes, I've now crossed that threshold, and we now have information for booking that's available that I care about. If the condition is met, I want to send a report that alerts me that there are times available that I want to reserve. If the condition was not met when this task runs, it's simply going to send a report to the notepad that says that the reservations are available up until the day in given month. The next change will be available on this month. So how do we actually send that report? So we're going to do it over Notepad, and I'll talk about another method that I attempted to use. But for Notepad, we essentially just run notepad.exe to actually pop open the Notepad app. We wait 2 seconds to ensure that the program has finished loading the Notepad application. We replace any lines or line breaks with a keystroke enter, and then we run using the subprocess toolkit in Python a PowerShell function that essentially adds all of the messages and then enters them in using the subprocess run. It also includes keystrokes, so that way I am able to format the actual notepad as it's populated. So that's all good and fun, but what if I wanted this to alert me using a text message? Well, look no further. I found that Twilio, a free-to-use service, has you covered for that. So what Twilio exactly does is it's a online messaging platform that essentially allows you to create business or personal phone numbers, and then you're capable of sending it to a text to any other person in the world. So they charge a little bit of money per each message that's sent out. And because of that, I wanted to refrain from using this method. But if I were to, it's very simple. We would just use their API client, which all you have to do is pass in an account SID and an auth token, which is given to you. And then you would populate a message with the client.messages.create, which gives you the option to fill in a body, which in this case is just going to be what the text is, a from, which is going to be what number is going to be sending it, which in this case is my Twilio number, and what number it's going to be sent to, which in this case is my personal number. So given all of that, we now go back to our main function, and we can see that we have all of our elements ready. So what happens when we run it? Let me clear the terminal, and when we run it, First, the page is going to open. It waits until that element loads in. It's parsing. It opens up a notepad. And then it sends you a message telling you when the reservation is available up until and when the next change will happen. Let's see what happens if I run this and the condition is true. So we're going to run it the same as before. It opens the page, pulls the information, and now it's going to send the alert version. So now I have a new alert message which sends when the base case is actually established, or in this case not a base case, but actually a target case. And it sends me the link to the website so that way I can copy and paste it directly, as well as what days are available, urging me to reserve. All right, and the last component is Task Scheduler. So I got a little familiar with this, and I set up a trigger which is going to run 1 minute after the time in which this website is supposed to populate with new reservations. It's triggered daily, and the action that it runs is it runs the main function in our daily script. But how do you actually use Task Scheduler? Well, if you're curious, I can show you a quick step-by-step on how I did it. So first, you want to come here to create basic task. You want to give it a name that makes sense. So in this case, I'm just going to call it test. How often do you want it to run? So it goes from set times. So you could do daily, weekly, or monthly options. You can also have it set to a one time at a specified time and date. You can have it run when the computer starts. You can have it when it logs on, and you can also have it when a specified event is logged. So in this case, I wanted to use daily. You'd specify the start date, which in this case is today, and you'd specify a time, which in this case was 11 o'clock, and I scheduled it for exactly 1 minute before. For 1 minute before. Okay. Just like so. How often you want it to recur. So you can have it set to every single day, every couple of days. You get to decide that. You can then have this task perform some form of action. So in the case of this, with Microsoft, you can actually have it send an email or display a message, both of which have actually been deprecated. So in this case, we would just have a start program, which runs my function and actually displays a message for me, so I don't even have to worry about that. And last but not least, you would specify where your program or script lives. And you would also, again, add an argument for the script, replacing here the entire file path of the script. So in this case, main is the file that I want to run. You would copy this, paste this into here, you'd hit next, and then it's going to give you some information about your daily script. And then when you're done, you'd click finish. And here you can see, now I have my daily vineyard check, which runs every single day at 11:01 and runs indefinitely until I specify. And yeah, that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I hope you found it a little bit useful. And until the next one, see ya.